Sorry about that, Hebra. The video got cut off in beginning Wednesday's parak. And so we're just gonna continue, and we'll note that in the title of the video that was part one, and this will be part two. So let's continue. The 613 commandments of the Torah, Shetaric mitzvahs Nimshachot, are drawn from the whiteness, the whiteness, the Chassidim of Arach Anpin, that it is Rasan Elyon, the upper will, Makor Chassidim, the source of the Chassidim. Okay, so the 630 commandments of the Torah are actually derived from the Chassidim of Arach Anpin, from the side of Chesed. And although in order that this intent should be sincere in his heart, what is this intent? The intent that the light be drawn down upon his soul and the souls of all of the Jewish people, in order that this intent be true in his heart, in his heart desires, in truth, in the upper unity, this upper unity, uniting all the souls with their source and godliness. There needs to be in his heart there needs to be a great love for Hashem alone. Let's read this note by Rabbi Weinberg. Often loving another is ultimately a result of self-love. Here we're talking about in order to desire the unification of all the souls in their source and Hashem, a much deeper love is required, a love untainted by self-interest, a love wholly and exclusively directed for Hashem. This is entirely Hashem's mission, His purpose, and His will. So let's continue in the words of the Alter Rebbe. How are you going to have this intent? Your intent should be to make nachas ruach lefanav, to give Hashem nachas and levad, to Him alone, and not to quench the thirst of his soul for Hashem. It's not to quench your own soul, but rather to give Him nachas. It's very interesting. He must be like the son who strives for the sake of his father and mother, whom he loves more than his own body. He loves them more than his own body and soul, as it explained in chapter 10, Raya Behemla. So that's the mashal for the love that you have to have for Hashem is like the love a person has for his parents. Nevertheless, there is for every person to habituate himself to this intent. For although it may not be in his heart in perfect and complete truth, so that he should long for it with his whole heart, it's not necessarily the case that he has this love exclusively for Hashem, totally in his heart, to desire this with his entire heart, right? Because the person probably still has in him other loves and things that he loves because of who he is. Nevertheless, to some small extent, to some small extent, his heart desires this, but in truth, since the Abba Hatavi B'Shabbat Kol Yisrael Roel Asu Kol Mashu Ratzon Elyon Baruch Hu. Because Abba Hatavi, because of the natural love Shabbat that is in the heart Kol Yisrael of every Jew, Asud Koma, to do anything or everything Shuhu Ratzon Elyon, which is the upper will, blessed be He. Okay. And this unity is Hashem's true will. And so the person has a natural love for Hashem to fulfill Hashem's will. And this is His true will. So there is in you and me this will as well. This desire to complete this will. Namely what? What is this that we're talking about? Vayinu meaning Yehuda Elyon Vatzilus, the upper unity in the world of Atzilus, Shnase, which occurs with Kedusha Dilatata, from an arousal from below, Ayida Yehud Nevesh Elokit, through the unity of the godly soul, Hit Klalaluta, Vodavayo, and its inclusion in the light of Hashem, Hambalubash, which is dressed up with Torah mitzvahs, and the Torah and the mitzvahs, Sha'useket Behen, that he works in them. And they will become entirely one. Commotion to be like we spoke about earlier. Because through this, he's joining up also the source of the Torah and the mitzvahs. That it's Hashem, that's actually the source of the Torah and mitzvahs is Hashem, and the Holy One, blessed be He. And he's joining that with which this with the source of his godly soul, Hanikar B'Shem Shechina. So by working in the Torah and the mitzvahs, what's accomplished is the source of the Torah and mitzvahs, which is the Holy One, blessed be He Himself, is joining with the source of your soul, which is called Shechina. So you have the Shechina joining with Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Atzmo itself. Shehin Bechinas Mamali Kol Olamim. So this is called filling all the worlds. U Bechinas Soviv Kol Olamim, and it's also called filling all the world. Surrounding all the worlds. Like commotion by air, but Makamakir Baruch, like we talk about in other places. So this joining and illumination is both the joining and illumination of a mamale, the filling light, and soivev, the surrounding light. The Alter Rebbe would now go on to say that a Jew's desire for his own soul to be united with its source is an utterly honest one, for every Jew possesses an innate love for Hashem. Okay, it's continuing, but the union of a person's own soul. So I guess we're making a distinction between desiring your own soul's union with Hashem, which you definitely, no question, the author over here says you have that desire. And the more difficult one, I suppose you could say, is the one that includes every single yid, that they should be absorbed in the godly light. But here we're going to talk about the person himself, Abba, Yichud Nafshu Elihiklaluta Ba'odavaya, the unity of its soul and its inclusion into the light of Hashem, Lachadim, to become one. But to become one in this, rather, become one, comma, in this, Chafetz Kol Adam Yisrael Be'emes Lamito Legamri B'chol Lev B'chol Nefesh. In this, every one of the Jewish people wants that, desires that, Be'emes in truth, Lamitato Legamri in absolute truth, totally, B'chol Lev with his entire heart, B'chol Nefesh and all his soul. Meaning for yourself, you want that desperately, you want that definitely. Ma'ava, to be eat from the natural love, which is found in the heart of every Jewish person, Ladavka, Hashem, to join with Hashem, to connect to Hashem, and not to be separated, to be cut off and separated, Chas v'shalom, God forbid, from his oneness and his unity, blessed be he, in any way, I feel about Mesiras Nefesh Mamash, even at the cost of your life. Note its readiness for self-sacrifice services. For example, when a Jew is forced by the heathens to bow down to an idol, or God forbid, even if merely going through the motions would satisfy them, would satisfy the oppressors, and they do not impose their belief upon him, the Jew will be ready to literally sacrifice his life so as not to do that, and not to be sundered from God's unity. Continue with the Alter Rebbe. Being engaged in the Torah, the mitzvahs, and prayer is also a matter of actual surrender of the soul, just as when it leaves the body at the end of 70 years. That's the surrender of the soul in the right way, surrender the soul to Hashem. So the author of everything is also a matter of surrender. So when a person resists bowing to an idol and may give his life, his actual physical life, to not do that, that Mesiras Nefesh, that surrender, the Alter Rebbe is comparing and making equivalency to doing the Torah and the mitzvahs. And by being involved with Torah and mitzvahs, that's also giving up your life for Hashem, so to speak. Of course, you're not dying physically. Actually, physically, you're living in the divine side. But the Alter Rebbe is saying here that there's a certain comparison that you're giving up your life, surrendering your soul, like as when it leaves the body after 70 years. Wow, this is really interesting. Let's look inside. Basic Torah of mitzvahs at tefillah, and the doing of the Torah of the mitzvahs and davening. Tefillah, who Gam came in Mesiras Nefesh, is also the idea of giving up your life, mamash literally, just like would say so, minaguf, when the soul goes out from the body, b'maloit shivim shana, after completion of 70 years. Like if the person would pass after 70 years, but then it does not think of bodily needs when a person passes. Ve'eno mehar heret b'tzaraki aguf, the person does not think about his physical needs. But what machshavta miyuchedet amuluveshet v'oded the Torah tefillah, but his thoughts are unified and dressed up in the letters of the Torah and tefillah, showing that they are davar avaya, that they are the word of Hashem. Umachshavto, and his thought, Yisparach, blessed be He, and they will become truly one. So when a person passing doesn't think about his body and what he's going to eat, what he's going to drink, and how he's going to make money, but rather he's thinking about the Torah and the mitzvahs when he passes, and is becoming one with Hashem through thinking about the Torah and the mitzvahs and the letters of the Torah. So too, when a person is alive and he involves himself in the same thing, so that's like giving up your life, so to speak. It's Shizeh call Isek Neshama Gan Eden. This is what the soul is going to be doing in Gan Eden. Kedisa Gemara Zohar, like it says in the Zohar and the Gemara in the Zohar. Elaba what? Shisham, that there. Dangin Basagasam Viklulism Beoravaya, that there, when the souls in Gan Eden are immersed in the letters of the Torah and prayer, they delight in their apprehension of and absorption into the light of Hashem. They get delight through this delight. Although this delight is lacking in this world, the manner of service remains the same. So the delight which is derived in the next world is not really felt here, but the service is the same service. Shezeu shetikunu tequilas and miracles of shachar kudim with tefillah. This is why it is established at the beginning of the brachas of shachar before tefillah. It says, "Elokai neshama shenasat b'torah, soul which you put in me is pure." Neshama shenasat b'torah tavrasa to be. You blew it into me. V'yatasi li lemimeni. In the future, you're going to take it away from me. What are we saying? Meaning to say, Klomar Ma'achar, since Shatan the fact to be that you blew it into me, Vyatasi let me many, and in the future you're going to take it away from me. Therefore, Mi'ata from now, Animu Sra Makazira Lacha Yakada Ba'achdusacha. Therefore, as of even right now, I'm going to give it over to you and return it to you to unite it with your oneness. Hashem gives it to you and says he's going to take it from you. So when he takes it from you, what will the soul be doing? It's going to be involved with Torah mitzvahs. So then while he's giving it to you, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be involved with Torah mitzvahs before he takes it in a certain way. That's giving it back to him right off the bat, even while you are a soul and a body. Like it says, Elecha nafshi yasa, to you Hashem, I lift up my soul to unite it with Hashem. Meaning Alidei Itkashrut Makshavti B'Makshavtecha V'Diburi V'Diburecha Yotem Torah V'Tefillah. Through the connection and joining of my thought with your thought and my speech with your speech in the letters of the Torah and Tefillah, and particularly V'Amiras Lavaya V'Nocheach Kamo Baruch Atah Ukagavna, and especially when one addresses Hashem in the second person, like Baruch Atah, and things like that, when you're talking directly to Kadosh Baruch Hu, to Hashem. And that completes Wednesday's portion. Wednesday, the 16th of Nisan, this was part 2 because the first one got cut off. So we're going to join these together, and we'll have Wednesday part 1, Wednesday part 2, and then we're going to continue with Thursday and Friday, which is the 17th and 18th of Nisan, in chapter 41 of Tanya. See you then.